Welcome to another episode of Breakaway from the Rat Race. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with David and Dana Hagstrom, who are retired from their respective position as pastor and paralegal. They moved abroad in 2016 in beautiful Mexico and are now online business strategy coaches. That's a mouthful. And as strategy coaches, David and Dana work with others to basically build and provide effective business strategies to help people boost their own business, and helping clients figure out kind of like how to get best monetize and market themselves on the web. So they're also helping folks imagine the future they want at retirement. And they have a series of products and services that they offer, and plenty of resources and affiliate marketing tools and solutions for the online entrepreneur. So David, Dana, David, welcome.
Thank you.
Eric. Thank you.
I made a couple of blurbs, but a couple of issues that when I spoke, but this is all good. We're going to move forward. So first of all, I'm very curious to kind of learn more about your journey to retirement. If you can, we can start with that, because coming from pastor, paralegal, and now what you're doing is I would say it's unconventional from where you have come from.
I would agree. You know, the first thing I'd want to say, just sort of reflecting back a little bit, is that ministry was filled with highs and lows, like many of your careers. Mm-hmm. And in time, my own personal gift for strategic planning, and that led to me being senior pastor of a large congregation, and then executive pastor of a huge congregation, where I coached a lot of staff members. We had, I think, 26 on staff there. And then they changed their staff model. Wow. And I was downsized at age 58.
How can you be downsized from ministry?
I know, it doesn't seem like you would think that in a church.
Yeah.
However,
yeah, exactly.
They have staff, they decide they don't need that kind of pastor anymore. They bring someone else on, and here we are then looking for a new call at age 58.
Yeah, and so I applied in all sorts of places that were similar to where I had come from. And in these large congregations, I interviewed well. I came in the top 3, I think 20 times over, before I realized that they're just looking for someone younger.
Wow, yeah.
And I ended up in a small, struggling rural congregation where ministry was still rewarding in a way, but frustrations were mounting, because I was really operating entirely out of my own particular gifts.
Yeah.
And after a few years there, I felt tired, like I'd given about everything I had to give. And one night in particular, I spent some time analyzing our pension account and calculated that Dana and I needed to work another 6 to 8 years to retire comfortably in the U.S.
Wow.
And
that's not bad. I figured I need to work another 100 years in order to.
And we hear people say, "Oh, I'll never retire. I'll never be able to do that." So,
I had convinced myself that was my choice.
Yes. Well, one night, or that night, then I went to Dana to tell her what I'd found, and I added sort of jokingly, "Unless we decide to do something radical, like." Yeah. Retire right now and move to Mexico.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he was joking, but what I did know is how frustrated he'd been with, this particular call. And, you never question where God puts you. But at the same time, I knew the struggle, and I didn't want to see us, we were 5 years in by this time, didn't want to see us having to find a new place with this church struggling. And so to me, we were coming up on winter, and I didn't want to commute again. you know, through country roads. So
Yeah.
I said, yeah, let's check it out. Let's see what God has to say about this. So that's where that journey began.
So I think one of the first people we went to was our own financial advisor. And I, you know, told him what we were thinking of doing. And he said, you know, that makes perfect sense. I might look into that myself. And he's, you know, he said financially, it makes sense that, you know, you cut your cost of living dramatically and, and you can retire significantly earlier.
Yeah.
And so a few months later, we found ourselves here in Mexico.
Wow.
And well, it was about a year later. Well, we did our due diligence.
8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after retiring, honestly, I went through a period of a few months where I felt like, okay, now what do? I've been put out to pasture. And I realized at some point, wait, I need to wake up and change my mindset. That's just not going to work. That kind of attitude about things.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, I'm at the, you know, top of my career. I've got all sorts of gifts to share.
Yeah.
I'm in a different setting now. How do I share my gifts here?
Yeah.
And well, we came to sense a new calling and realized that there were lots of people of my own baby boom generation that were reaching retirement age, or sometimes like me, sort of unexpectedly coming to the end of their careers.
Yeah.
And without the resources to retire in the way that, well, our parents did.
Yeah.
You know, the assumption that the company's going to take care of you now for the rest of your years.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case anymore.
That's right. I mean, with all the corporate pension plan, I mean, that's my big thing is the corporate pension plan not being available, the defined benefit, everything has been converted to 401ks. Yeah.
Exactly. That changed from when 401ks came out, you know, they were touted as being a big benefit. And in really, they were taking something, you know, taking a lot away from the average worker that had a defined benefit plan.
Absolutely. And no plan for, okay, accumulate, save all that money, but don't even talk about how are you going to convert that money into a stream of income at retirement, right? So there's no plan. Nobody discussed that until you're at retirement, and then now you have to figure that out.
Right. And many workers end up like Dana did at the end of her career as a paralegal with 4 or 5 small retirement funds that even added up really don't amount to much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Initially the plan was the vision was that Social Security was I used to be an actuary, and working in pension. So it used to be 1/3 of your retirement income was coming from Social Security. Another 1/3 was coming from your defined benefit pension plan or corporate pension plan, and then the last 1/3 was coming from your own savings and your own investment. Right. And then so you took 2 of them away, and then Social Security is kind of we don't, fingers crossed. And then they keep telling you, like I said, like save, and then we take our fees for 30 years as you work, and then at retirement we take some more fees to convert that into an annuity that provides very low returns. So
right.
Yep.
So we found ourselves wondering, how can we help those people that are needing to bridge the gap between where they are and having an enjoyable, rewarding retirement.
Yeah.
And we pictured building a bridge from one place to the other, beginning with surveying their situation, and then designing that bridge, and finally building it.
Yeah.
And so the first thing people need to do at that place is to ask themselves, what does their ideal retirement look like?
Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of people know what they're retiring from,
Yeah.
but have no idea what they're retiring to.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
One of the things that I suggest to people is, don't retire from something. Wait until you've got a picture of where you're going to. And like, where would you like to live? And what are your dreams? Do you want to travel? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to take classes, start a hobby?
Write a book.
Write a book like you did. And,
another book.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you don't need to write those questions down. We already talked about that and said, we'll be glad to send you our ideal retirement questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
If listeners are interested in getting more of those questions.
Yeah, and I'll put that in the link in on YouTube.
Okay, great. Well, then the next thing is realizing, okay, that dream is great, but it's got a price tag to it.
Yeah.
And you may have accumulated some assets, and it's good to do an inventory of what you have, and talk with a financial professional about what kind of income that can provide.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got to figure out what to do about that gap in between.
Yeah.
And so then the next thing we ask is, okay, you've got skills and experience that could benefit someone. And we've run into lots of people who say, no, I don't really have any particular gifts. And I said, okay, what were you doing your entire career?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You may have been working for someone else, but they had some reason to pay you for something. Mm-hmm. Whether it's for what you knew or what you could do with your hands or, whatever it was, you've got skills and experience that are worth something. Mm-hmm. And, what problems can you solve for somebody? Yeah. For one person, it might be, okay, I can build them a website. Or for someone else, it might be, I can build them a back deck on their house. There's, or it might be that, I'm great at baking cakes. Whatever it is that you do, get clear on what you have to offer and who you could help.
Yeah. And also if you move from one area, like you have done, when you move from the US into Mexico, your skills may be pretty common in where you live and stuff like that. But when you go into another country, then all of a sudden your skill that was kind of everybody knew that becomes very valuable when you go to another country. So that's something else to look at. So make sure you don't miss out the value you can provide by assuming that everybody knows what you know.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And with the internet, that opens up the whole world, no matter where you live.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can meet people from all over the world, and it's fascinating how problems, a lot of problems everybody has, and it doesn't matter where you live, you can solve problems for them. And learning how to use online strategies so that you can find the people that are looking for those problems that you can solve. You can expand your territory from your neighborhood or your town or your community or state to the world.
Yeah. And a lot of people are locked into this mindset that the only way to get money is to get a job and work for someone else.
Yeah.
And most of the time you would do better off, at least in retirement, working for yourself. And of course, we were put into place where coming from the US into another country, we're not allowed to take a job away from someone else.
Yeah.
We can start our own business, but
create a job,
but not be an employee.
Yeah.
So it sort of forced us into a different way of thinking and starting to think as an entrepreneur instead of as an employee.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something that I've, like we just spoke about, is something that's very critical, I think, for me, for when I'm trying to help people, kind of like when you're talking about building your bridge and stuff like that. So for me, the biggest component to build your bridge, your big scaffolding is real estate investing. So turnkey rental properties and stuff like that. That's going to bring with your savings, your 401k and all of that, a significant amount of passive income. But then, yeah, like you said, there's another gap that needs to be filled in there. And when I speak with individuals about that, it's really a shift in mentality. And the skills that got you to where you are today, they're not necessarily the skills that are going to move you forward. So you have to do some new skills in there. And my question in that is that two things is, so what are kind of some of the biggest roadblock that you see the people that you're helping, what are the biggest roadblock or the biggest issues that they have? And then how do you help them overcome these roadblocks?
I think the single biggest roadblock is the shift from thinking of oneself as an employee to thinking of oneself as an independent business person, an entrepreneur that needs to develop an audience, that needs to sell your services to someone else, that and that you're depending on yourself rather than on someone paying you a salary.
Right. And if you're doing that, if you've had to go from one mindset to another, that shift can be hard and can be overwhelming, and you don't know where to begin or what to do first. And there's so many messages out there. There's so many great resources, but what one to start with or who to trust?
Yeah.
You know, we walk with a lot of people through their business, whatever they've chosen, and they come to realize maybe that wasn't the best choice. And there are a lot of options out there, and we try to help people find what's the best fit for them.
Exactly.
Because you have to be in alignment. You have to, you know, be acting in your own strength.
Yeah.
And, you know, real estate is a great option for those that have those resources to start with. You know, but for folks that don't have a lot of resources to even get investing from the get-go, they have to start even by investing in themselves to learn the skills they need to move forward. And that's what we've spent, you know, our retirement, you know, investing in ourselves to be better so that we can help other people.
And for those that are beginning a new business, not having done this in the past, often they don't have a clear path for what things need to be done in what order.
Yes.
Very often they're missing some foundational things, and they may have even got off to a start and think that they're doing well, but they're missing critical pieces of the foundation that will come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a matter of saying, okay, it looks like at this particular stage of development that you're in, you need to develop a new skill that you haven't.
Yeah.
And that's another piece that sometimes gets in their way.
Yeah. And I think sometimes they get overwhelmed and then they get paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the biggest thing.
Right. Where do I start? And then I start here, I start there, and then I don't start anything. So I'd rather, you know, I encourage people to take action. And I think that any action is better than inaction. So you have to do something. Even if you make a mistake, at least you're going to learn something from your mistake. But if you don't do anything.
Exactly. And we did precisely that. We made a lot of mistakes.
We've had a lot of learning experiences.
Yes, we have.
That's what
we were learning.
That's right. I had a lot of those as well. Like we had a lot of businesses we call them learning experiences or, you know, independent MBAs. But but you know, now I'm done with the learning experiences now.
Right.
I say that, but you're never done learning. But but I think this is something that's critical, is really action, taking action, and not be afraid of, as an entrepreneur, you don't want to be afraid to take action. So really take action. Don't go crazy, but take calculated risk. And if you're not sure about taking a big step, well, take multiple small steps, and then, you know, and then get there. So that's what I'm encouraging the people that I talk to on how to move forward.
So our particular role that we fill at this point in our lives is acting as coaches to people that are in that place of beginning their own business, and we walk alongside them and help them to build it in a way that makes sense, that leads them to a positive cash flow and a liberating profit. Yeah.
That's very good. And then, so that when I looked at your, so you had that thing that was called like solution framework on your website. Is that part of that the worksheet, or is that part of your process that you're going through for your for that coaching?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. The solution worksheet is particularly for people that are building online businesses.
Okay.
And if someone is interested in building a business online, then we'd be glad to work with them on that. And the URL for that is davidanddana.com/solution.
Okay.
But then if they're looking at moving into retirement and not sure what they are going to do and how that's going to transition is going to go, our solution for that is it's a different worksheet. That's that's davidanddana.com/ideal.
Okay. So ideal is the retirement, and then the other one is online.
Right. Exactly.
Although, you know, even offline folks could use the lead magnets and want to attract the right audience. And that can be a very helpful, and build a list of interested people, finding the right people. So I can see where the solution template could also help.
If someone's building a local business, for example, but wants to have an online presence to draw customers in.
Right.
That's true.
Yep.
So can you tell me about kind of like one individual or more individual that have gone through your program, like a success story of an individual that went through your program and was able to...
I'll start with
internet's funny.
Okay.
Our internet was stuck for a second.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Okay. I think we're back.
Okay.
I'll start with a story about not so much about a big success, but a small one. And that is, I was working with one client a couple weeks ago who was frustrated that her income never got above a certain threshold, nowhere near what she needed to sustain herself.
Yeah.
And I asked a few simple questions. One of them was, well, how much do you make per transaction for what you are selling? And in that particular case, it was $5. And I said, okay, great. Now, in order to make the income that you're planning on, how many sales do you need to make per month? That's a fairly simple calculation.
Yeah.
And in a few seconds, I waited, and she said, well, that's impossible. and I said, okay, you've discovered one business model that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now let's try to put together a different business model for you that will work for you. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people get into a particular model of doing things with just sort of a hunch about, this is what I think it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Without
absolutely.
Without having thought through where they're going from there.
Right, and that's step 4 in our process. You know, the program that we offer is how to make money, and that we dig deep to help people figure out how to make money with the products or services or things that they have available. Because too many people put their eggs all in one basket. They don't have multiple income streams. They haven't even thought of that before, like this particular client. So it's one of the basic things most people forget to think about.
Yeah, and also people are taught like very early on and by their parents and all that, say, follow your passion, do whatever you like and all of that, but make money. But sometimes that doesn't intersect. And then when you become an entrepreneur anyway, you're going to end up in a situation you're wearing so many hats. There's going to be some of these hats you're going to like, and some of these hats you're not going to like. So you're not going to find that. So get used to it.
Yes.
Find something or learn to be passionate about something that makes money.
That's right.
Or that's going to pay your bills, right? So I used to work, and people don't, and the other thing too that I want to say is that people don't think enough ahead of time about the business model. Kind of, how am I going to make money at this? Should I devote how much energy should I devote to this? And decide like, oh, I'm going to really, this is the right business. This is where I want to be. They don't think about the dollars yet. They just think, oh, I love this. And then they just go passionately into it, spend years into this, only to find out that there's no money in it and there's no way to make money in it.
Right. Another one I think of is that, there's a lot of people now thinking about making courses online. To teach something that they've learned. And honestly, that's a really great business model. But what they often forget about is, okay, you can design the best course in the world, but if you don't have a market, and if you don't know how to present your offer to that market and get the message out, if you don't know marketing skills or sales skills, how are you going to sell that course?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you can devote a lot of work and not go anywhere.
Yeah. We used to have like a gourmet sauce company, and then we started doing some assisting other people with their business, their food business. And food business is well known for passionate people. But even though I was passionate about food, the first thing that I did with our gourmet sauce business is create a spreadsheet. The finance in mind, and how does that money, how do we do this and how do we do that, and really fine tuning it. But and that's when we started helping other food entrepreneur with their business that were not like, they were very passionate about it, and they were they produced beautiful things. But the packaging was, 1.5 times the price of the cost of the product. And then if you add the margins, nobody's going to buy it. And then if you want to sell through to a grocery store or something like that, it's going to be like, $25 for a little thing of jam that has beautiful packaging. So that kind of stuff, there's a lot of those things that were going on. And so we've talked to a lot of people that were very passionate about their thing, but you have to think about the numbers. And even when you have something, it's also, like you mentioned, it's about, okay, now I have a product, I have a business model that works. Now I need to market that and find the right consumers, and then attract them, and then sell them to your product, your vision sometime of the product, and how you're gonna help them, or how your product is so great they're gonna really enjoy it and whatever. So.
Right, exactly. And that can be a huge learning curve for someone, particularly a paralegal who had no idea what marketing was all about.
That's right. I wish we had one on the call right now.
Yes.
So yeah, that's true. So how did you figure out the marketing things? The marketing side of things?
We found a community of other people online that are learning these things themselves, and became part of that. We found some mentors that we could look up to, that we could ask questions of, that we could, bounce ideas off of. And
we invested in coaches,
and
courses. And, I always think that I've got my master's or even my doctorate in marketing now for all the courses and time that we've spent learning and then of course implementing. You can learn a lot. You can be a professional student, and we know a lot of people like that. We kind of were like that for a while, but now we implement and we teach others. So we've embraced it.
Exactly.
It's so much fun because, we're our own boss now. And that's been the funnest part of being retired from what we were. We now retired to our encore career, the online coaches. So,
and we've found those people that want to do it themselves and learn it all themselves without taking the courses, without joining the community, without getting the coaches. And I'd have to say, you can do that, but it may take you 20 years to learn the right skills in the right order and to get somewhere. So, pay a little money and draw on someone else's wisdom that can help you shorten that learning curve.
That's what
absolutely. And this is why we're also doing, the turnkey rental business too, is that right now people are working full time. They can totally do what we're doing. They can totally go in out of state market, buy a distressed property, find a contractor, renovate it, and put a tenant in, and blah, blah, blah. They can do exactly what we're doing. I'm not doing it's not rocket science, and but you don't have time to do it. You should be focusing on running the business and then generating that passive income. Later on, once you have your passive income covered, your basic income covered, take the time and do it yourself. Do a couple of houses on your own and figure all of that out. But so focus on that one thing right now. Go across the bridge, and then you can go and play and explore all kinds of different things.
Right.
I also found that as we are talking right now, and I've spoken with other entrepreneurs as well, the entrepreneurs in general, they're very helpful and they're very open to talk about business, to share experiences and assist each other. So once you get into everybody is very open and receptive, and they want to share what they know. So it's not, you shouldn't be staying at home in your bubble. If you're an entrepreneur, you should get out there, tell everybody what you're doing. If you have any questions, problems, and stuff like that, somebody else has had that problem before. Absolutely. I guarantee it. And then they have a good solution for it. And the nice thing about it is that they're going to share that with you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, with your program, then they have all that in one big package. And with the coaching, then you can accelerate all that. You don't have to. You can go a little faster at that point.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
Very good. So that's besides your books, any books you would recommend? Well, you could recommend your book, but that'd be kind of cheating.
I know.
I'll put the link to your books in the profile, but
that's great. I mean, my audience is, people that are time starved, that want to reconnect with God in a simple, meaningful way. Mm-hmm. And we walk through the books of the Bible, and we've got Psalms and Proverbs so far,
and Mark will be coming out soon.
Mark, right, and the other Gospels very soon. Yep.
Some of my favorite books out there.
You can tell he's a book guy.
Yeah. Really.
I don't get anything for this, but Russell Brunson's books, beginning with .com Secrets, for the online business person, they are a wealth of wisdom.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's good. Very good. Yeah, no matter what nowadays, and anyway, you have to get into the online market and find the right marketing. It is very tricky, and once you know how to do it once, well, it doesn't matter because 6 months is going to be different. They're going to change the algorithm. It's going to go here. It's going to go there. People are interested in other things.
You have to be dedicated to online learning or ongoing learning.
That's a very positive way of putting it. That's for sure. But
yeah.
So yes, so thank you very much. Anything else you want to add to our conversation that we haven't spoken about?
Well, I'll just throw in another story.
Okay.
And 25 years ago, it's getting closer to 30 now, I took 1 year off from ministry to go out to Hollywood, California and study guitar.
Oh, wow.
And I always expected that I would continue practicing and continue growing that skill, and intended to work on jazz improvisation. And wow. But you know how a career is, you just become too busy and it gets pushed to the sideline. And there came a point where I didn't even enjoy picking up the guitar anymore because my skills had slipped so much.
Yeah.
And then I saw this course advertised online that was exactly what I needed to, review all the things that I had done in the past and take it to the next level, guided by an excellent professional jazz guitarist.
Wow.
And then I talked myself out of it. I said, but I know most of that already from my studies. I could do this myself if I just dedicate myself to regular focused practice.
Yeah.
And another year went by.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I saw the same advertisement over again. And I decided, okay, this time I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I was amazed how much I progressed in just a short time, given a teacher, some accountability, a particular curriculum to follow.
Yeah.
And the point of it, I would, offer to others is, you see something, you think that's what you need, you want to try it, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to talk ourselves out of it and to put our dreams on hold.
Yeah.
But go for it. And find someone that can help you along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's true. So you're going to tell me that as well, because I have 3 guitars in the closet and I haven't played in a while.
Okay.
But I know the feeling. And then I kind of I put it back and I kind of think again and I say, okay, let me do some things or I try something different, and then I put it back. Now I moved, as you know, I moved from the San Francisco Bay Area to LA. So now they're in the closet. And it's going to take a while, I think, for them to get out of there.
Sure.
But that's true. So I think, and I think it goes back to also when we talked about taking action, right? So, I mean, we think a lot about it and we just, okay, well, no, maybe that's not the right time. And you have to make time. So if this is something that's important to you, and the earlier you get started, the better. So
exactly.
So Dana, David, thank you very much. I really appreciate our conversation. It was fantastic.
Thank you. We enjoyed being here.
Very much so.
Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Break Away from the Rat Race with your host, Eric Martel. If you want to share your story and experience with our listeners, please message us on Facebook at Break Away from the Rat Race. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast on iTunes.